Oh mein Gott, thank you, Sams. Thankfully, I did not say anything. All I had said was hi, Sams. But what I was about to say is that, no intro this time. We're just going straight to it. I've said enough. I've said enough. And now I must learn to stop saying things forever. Whew, okay. Let us go. Yes, I will never forget that. It happened in April of 1987. I received a certain strange request from a friend. There was a large collection of books, the former possessions of a very rich man, that were being sold at an auction. And it was thought that some of them might have been extremely valuable to the study of archaeology and folklore, as well as in a cult sense. I can teach you to stop thinking. I am an expert. You lie. You lie. So this friend wanted to witness their worth confidently. That was 87, half a year after the crime of Rogenjima.
Correct. It was explained that those books had escaped the disaster at Rokenjima. The owner of the island, Mrs. Ushiramiya Eva, had put them up for auction.
This was apparently a high-class restaurant. A middle-aged man was sitting across from Angie in a secluded and quiet seat. A makusa could be seen by the entrance. He was probably keeping a lookout for pursuers from the Sumadera family. The scholarly man across from Angie spoke politely, but with enthusiasm. He didn't lay a finger on the food in front of him, so you could tell how excited he was as he spoke fervently. He was a professor at a certain college, and particularly well known as an authority on Western folklore. However, among his life works, that was only a convenient exterior. His true life work was the study of occultism, Western magic, alchemy, and everything else to do with the occult, as well as demonology. In short, he was the person in the best position to understand the details of Kinsel's research.
First, what I learned by apprising those books was that Miss Ushiramiya Eva had absolutely no education in the study of folklore, and that the original owner of the books, Ushiramiya Kinso, was certainly one of the top 5 authorities on demonology in Japan.
April 1987. Hi, Yules. Welcome. A major city antique shop obtained a large quantity of ancient documents that were thought to have a high historical value. Character noise? This guy's a character? Oh, brother. Professor Utsuki. Utsuki. A professor at a certain college well known as an authority on the study of Western folklore, also famous as a hobbyist researcher of the Rokenjima witch legend and as one of the witch hunters. The witch hunt is primarily focused on the straining of occult superstitions to explain the truth of the Rokenjima crime rather than only doing so scientifically, and its Villianances and enthusiasts of the mythical primarily view it as a type of mental game. How curious. Professor Utsuki. They were entrusted with them by Ushiramiya Eva, who wanted them to be sold at an auction. At the time, it was thought that Eva would succeed the Ushiramiya family and have all the wealth to herself as the only survivor. However, at that point, not even half a year had passed since the accident, and the others had not been missing long enough to be presumed dead, even under extraordinary circumstances. Because of that, Eva had supposedly been in a very tight spot financially, unable even to collect on her family's life insurance. It seems she tried to sell everything of her value. And even the books kept in the place where she'd escaped harming Kuadorian were used for this purpose. These old books, which would eventually be called the Ushiramiya Library, were later gathered from antique shops by authorities in the field so that they could be apprised, and those authorities were astounded.
At least speaking from the perspective of occultism.
1 second. There you go.
The impact of the discovery on the world was comparable to the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is because contained within the Ushiramiya Library were many extremely vital documents that had never been found, though their existence had been known for more than a millennium.
The many dreams of the occult, such as those represented by alchemy, always stirred an intense fascination in dilettantes. It is whispered that many magic books of great historical value, currently unknown to the public, might be in the secret possession of extremely wealthy lovers of the occult. Items such as Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks, which are particularly popular among... Stop saying that word! I don't know that word! Dilantes are said to be the prime example of this. It is said the approximately 5,000 pages of these notebooks currently exist, and that over 10,000 have been lost. But some researchers believe that a large part of the lost portion may be monopolized by certain enthusiasts and members of the extremely rich. It is said that because of this, even now... I'm gonna look up that word. What is that? I'm missing context here. Dilettante. A person cultivates an area of interest such as the arts without real commitment of knowledge. Ah, I see.
Dilettante.
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 I like that word. Even now, dilettantes who can't help but seek, they spare no expense to search around for quietly hoarded away and unannounced notebooks. There is probably no doubting that Ushiromiya Kinso was himself one of these dilettantes. No one knows what Kinso went through to obtain those, but there can be no mistake that he used his vast wealth freely, buying them off of other rich people with the same hobby as him. Those books, which were so valuable that enthusiasts could never satisfy their desire to hoard them away, were discovered in large numbers at the end of the 20th century, and their release to the public had given the entire world a massive shock.
Because of this case, the name Ronkenjima became known across the world. The world was also shocked to learn that in all likelihood, a large number of even more valuable undiscovered books were lost during the accident on Ronkenjima. Because of this, the names of Ronkenjima and the Ushiromiya Library will remain in our memories for all time.
Our memories that are probably in the occult neck of the woods with the same hobby as Kinso. Because of that incident, the name of Ronkenjima had taken on a vital meaning in the world of the occult. There certainly had been a lot of reporting about the accident on Ronkenjima itself, but not on an international level. However, this one part had spread across the world. Taking the image of Ronkenjima as a small island in the Izu archipelago and painting it over as a demonic island where riddles, suspicion, mystery, and the occult met. In other words, until Kinso's library was leaked to the public by Eva, Ronkenjima had been merely a nameless island that no one could remember, and certainly not the island of a witch. However, when knowledge of the Ushiromiya library spread all over the planet, Ronkenjima's image immediately took on an occult twist.
What happened next was a discovery of the message bottle. That's what turned that island into a witch's island. A nameless island in the Izu archipelago began to transition into an island of the occult, the island of the mysterious witch Beatrice. You might say that, lacking either the Ushiromiya library or the message bottle, the Ronkenjima witch legend would never have been established.
The message bottle?
Yes. A form of communication to an unspecified target by throwing an empty bottle with a letter sealed inside into the sea. It was once famous as a way of sending an SOS from a deserted island, but because of the influence of a certain prominent foreign detective novel, it has also become known as a method of confessing the truth after one's own death, like a time-delayed will. The case of the Ronkenjima message bottle was certainly one of the latter.
This is the thing everyone says a fisherman on a nearby island picked up.
Correct. We learned that a young fisherman on Shikinejima picked up a wine bottle with a letter in it. This young fisherman kept it just out of curiosity. Then, because Ronkenjima had fallen under the world's attention due to the Ushiromiya library, he announced his discovery.
Is there any chance that it was a fabrication made by the fisherman?
Of course, we aren't able to deny the possibility. The scraps of paper in the wine bottle were signed by a certain member of the Ushiromiya family.
Maria, right?
A girl named Ushiramiya Maria.
Yeah, I remember that from episode 1. They have not mentioned that since the end of episode 1. So does that mean episode 4 is entirely from the POV of Maria? Remember that theory I have about each episode being different points of views. We'll see. Hi, Rubita Mate. I'm sorry, I didn't know! I gotta stream where I can.
However, after looking at the writing left on her former belongings, it was confirmed that this message was written in a different person's handwriting.
A different person's handwriting.
Correct. At the very least, I believe there can be no doubt that it was written by a person more skilled at writing and of a greater age than her. And there's a very high likelihood that someone faked her name when they wrote it. And therefore, at that point in time, the contents of those scraps of paper were thought to be of very low credibility. However, later on, it was confirmed that a similar message bottle... That's not him talking.
Later on, it was confirmed that a similar message bottle had been recovered from a nearby ocean on the day of the accident by the police in their search for lost articles, and this caused a sensation.
It seems that due to evidence from the surrounding area and the fact that the bottle had been sealed, the police had decided that its likelihood of being a fabrication was low and that it had been abandoned no earlier than a few days before the accident. And the handwriting for both matched. This caused the credibility of the scraps of paper discovered by the fishermen to rise. It seems magazines and the like have reported on the contents of the message bottle repeatedly, but would you like an explanation?
No. Screw you! Yes! I know about it, more or less. Many scraps of paper have been stuffed into both of the wine bottles. It was an extensive notebook written by someone calling themselves Ushiramiya Maria, but who wasn't Maria, and which told of the events starting the day before the accident and up until the day of the accident in a diary-like way. And its contents have been the beginning of the witch's legend serial murder incident, as well as the Golden Witch Beatrice's puzzle.
This bizarre diary-style notebook described how the Ushiramiya family members knelt down on the island by the typhoon, were caught up in a ceremony of the resurrection of a witch, and killed one by one in inexplicable ways. And in the end, the Golden Witch Beatrice revived, and everything was flung into the Golden Land. It was written almost as though it was a complete account of the events of those days. Also, it depicted the current situation on the island as the time in great detail. And the former servants who used to work for the Ushiramiya family gave testimony that it had definitely been written by a human who knew the inside details of the island.
So, because of the combination of the occult boom from the strange fantasy novel and the Ushiramiya library, and well as the fact that the truth remained shrouded in darkness, the legend of the Rokkenjima witch was born.
Correct. More than 10 years have already passed since that case, and it is still the focus of interest for occult enthusiasts across the world. No, to the contrary, you could say that it has become increasingly defiled as time passes. Deified, there are still many enthusiasts who try to secretly land on Rokkenjima even though it's prohibited. Could there be another message bottle that has still not been discovered? And on that day, what really happened on that island? There is still much to be discussed.
As though he had finally remembered what he'd been going on and on for some time, the man took a gulp of water. His potage was getting cold, but it seemed that... His potage was getting cold, but it seemed that the man's hunger had already been blown away. I'm pretty sure I heard that the fisherman's scraps of paper and the police scraps of paper had completely different contents.
Correct. Due to that, interest in the Rokkenjima mystery increased even further. Inside both bottles were diary-like notebooks on which was written an account from the day before the accident until the day of the accident, However, while both of their accounts' contents describe the same 2-day period, they were completely different. Are they about to confirm my whole POV thing that I was talking about? Brother. Okay, but they're the same handwriting. That's the weird part. Maybe one's a magical explanation and one is a rational explanation. And they threw both out to let us, the people, decide which one is the truth. But who? Not Maria. Maybe Butler. Maybe at the end of it all, he couldn't decide himself if it was rational or magical. And so he wrote 2 accounts of events. One magical and one rational. So that one day Angie could find them and she herself decide what is the truth. There was a snow, one was a truth and one was a lie. Haha. Or perhaps both were lies. In any event, the beginnings and endings alone matched each other. In the beginning, the 18 people, including their relatives, are sealed up on the island by the typhoon, and in the ending, everyone dies. The Golden Witch is revived, and everything is flung into the Golden Land. The contents of both message bottles wrote about the events of the day before the accident and the day of the accident, but the details were completely different. Both diaries outline a serial murder following the epitaph of the witch, but the order of the sacrifices, the ways they died, and even the tale of the 2 days were different. However, in both, everyone died in the end and the witch revived, making for the same general plot. Because the only survivor, Miss Ushiramiya Eva, has remained silent about what actually happened on that island, the events of the entire 2-day period are shrouded in darkness. These 2 diaries presented a full 2 theories to wipe away that darkness. Those 2 days could be... Bless me. Those 2 days could be explained with either of those 2 diaries. However, we don't know which is correct, or even if there's anything correct contained within them. Schrodinger's cat box. If it isn't denied, even a mixture of truth and fiction can be the truth. Through the media, these scraps of paper had of course been shown to Eva as well, but in the end, she never broke her silence. Who sent the message bottles, and why? Earlier in the special issue for the crime's 10th anniversary, a certain magazine took the topic up for discussion in a grand manner. That story seems to be the one garnering the most support lately. But it is rather dull. What happened on that island on that day? Considering this question is the true charm of the witch hunt. The witch hunt? Yes, the Ronkenjima witch hunt is the name of a group of enthusiasts who try to explain the truth of that crime from an occult perspective. Discussion of the mysteries that surround Ronkenjima, from the Ushiramiya library to this mysterious 2-day period of the legend of the Golden Witch, is flourishing even today among enthusiasts. For the 10-year anniversary, an international convention was held in New York. I also participated as a representative of Japan. I was able to intermingle with zealous overseas witch hunters in many ways. Witches are a very popular category overseas. The age span of the participants stretched from elementary schoolers at the bottom all the way to famous cultural figures on the top. Even in Japan in recent years, there was finally... You probably don't need any more explanation, but he's one of the most famous Ronkenjima witch hunters in Japan. Even though I didn't ask anything more, he kept continuing on excitedly all by himself. As I swirled the thin film on my potage with my spoon, I shrugged my shoulders and sighed. Looks like researching about the message bottle really was a waste of time. No, if there's one thing I found, it's that the notebook supposedly written by Maria Onechan was actually written by a different person faking her name. And that person wrote up an occult legend on their own, put it into the bottle as though it was the truth, and threw it into the sea. I have a question. Why would they go to all that trouble of writing so much in order to prepare a suspicious letter like that?
With the message bottle, there would be no guarantee that it ever passed into anyone's hands. If their luck had been bad, it could have sunk into the bottom of the ocean, never to be seen by anyone. And even if someone had picked it up, they might have not cared about it and thrown it away. Why would they entrust their confession of the truth to the sea with such an uncertain method? And why would they write up multiple different tales? If there's been one message bottle, claiming that its story was the truth might be reckless but impossible. However, because there were two, that made both of them doubtful. If someone was plotting to make out those 2 days to be the work of a witch, then they really did go one step too far. And because there were two, it suggests that an undiscovered third one, or possibly even more, might exist. In other words, the two different contents make both of them harder and harder to swallow. But despite that, the contents of both matched in that they told of a witch in the tale. So is that the main point the writer wanted to get across to us? It seemed to me that the only possible explanation is that someone who wanted to give rise to an illusion of a witch carried out this crime for their own enjoyment. However, the 17 people other than Aunt Eva lost their lives, and a vast wealth of maybe even 10 tons of gold had moved around secretly in darkness. It doesn't feel right for a confession occurring after all that to bring up this illusion of a witch. Even if we ignored the magazine's theories, it's very doubtful that the message bottle really was a diary. After all, the amount of writing was massive. It's hard to imagine that someone actually caught up in the middle of a serial murder like that would be able to calmly write it down. In that case, it's probably more realistic that this diary was written slowly over a long period of time, up until the day prior to the accident. In that case, would it mean that everyone on Ronkejima was a planned crime and everything prepared for over a long stretch of time? The fact that Aunt Eva left this world without saying anything is infuriating. She definitely said it on her deathbed. She definitely said that her reason for not telling me the truth was because it was her best way of harassing me. Yeah, by now it's painfully obvious. Of all the things Aunt Eva did to harass me, that was probably the last and the greatest. But thinking of it this way, it's pretty doubtful that Aunt Eva was the true culprit. Of course, that's not because the handwriting on the message bottle was different from Aunt Eva's or anything like that. It's because in both tales that were discovered, Aunt Eva was included among the victims. If the writers of the diary was the culprit, maybe Aunt Eva was also one of the targets to be killed. Maybe Aunt Eva had survived because something had gone wrong. Because I hated Aunt Eva, I came to believe that she had to be the culprit. But the existence of the message bottle makes me suspect that the mastermind is a far more profound and unknown person than her. I looked at the clock. I heard more than enough. It's time. As he continued to speak fervently, I suggested that I wanted to bring this discussion to a close. He seemed to be aware that he'd gotten excited and talked too much, so he quickly accepted this. Thank you very much for today. I believe I've heard something truly valuable.
No. It was truly fun to be able to welcome a young lady as a new friend of the witch hunt. I have many precious materials that I couldn't show you because of this change to a different venue from the usual. I would be glad to show you them on the next chance we get.
Thank you, Professor. Can I ask one more thing?
Yes, what is it?
Professor, why are you interested in witches? No, in occultism and demonology.
Well, that is somewhat embarrassing. A daydream I had in my childhood that if I could use some mysterious power, I could take on even the biggest of bullies. Went on to become my life's work. After all, the primitive desire of admiring unknown powers is as universal today as it ever was in the past.
Professor, if you could do it, would you want to become a witch? Do you still dream of being able to use magic at will?
Oh, but of course. Even though at this age I understand logically that such a thing could not exist, I cannot forget my childlike dreams, such as flying in the sky and turning scrap iron into gold. If you would, please keep this a secret from my students.
If I told you that I was a real witch, would you believe it?
My pet theory from my few experiences with women is that they are all witches.
Angie snorted at the old professor, who must have had an earnest scholar with barely any experience with women. Yeah. And one final question. Professor, have you seen the original message bottle itself?
I have indeed.
In that case, do you know the handwriting well?
Of course. I am not a specialist in that area, but at least when it comes to that handwriting of the message bottle, I am proud to be the most knowledgeable in Japan.
At that point, Angie set a book on the desk with a thud.
And this is? I have never seen it before.
He prided himself on his thorough knowledge of all literature related to Ronkenjima, and he looked bewildered at this binding that he hadn't seen before. Ignoring him, Angie silently flipped through the pages, opened to one of them, and showed him. On the page was a handwritten paragraph beginning with, "To my beloved witch apprentice." And at the end, there was a signature in katakana that said, "Beatrice."
This is...
The instant he glanced at it, his face went pale. He knew the answer before asking, but Angie asked it aloud anyway. Does the handwriting in the paragraph on this page match the handwriting in the message bottle?
Well, I must take this home and investigate more. Pardon me for asking, but what in the world is this book? Where did you get it?
The man stretched out his hand, but Angie pulled it back, as though telling him not to touch it with his filthy hands. Thank you. Just the reaction is all I need. Thank you very much for today. Here's the reward I promised. As she stood up clutching Maria's diary, Angie carelessly tossed a wad of 10,000 yen notes wrapped in a strip of paper onto the table. As Angie turned her back to him and made him to leave, the man raised his voice as though clinging to her, but Angie didn't stop walking.
I beg you! What in the world is that book? I don't need a reward! Show me that book!
Both you and I are in the witch hunt, but it looks like we aren't pursuing it at the same level. You're entertaining yourself with the outside of the cat box, and what I want to know about is the inside of the cat box. And this book is the key to opening it. It's too good for you. Well then, goodbye, gentlemen. Have a nice day.
Wait, please! Sumadera-san!
His voice didn't reach her. She had already joined up with Amakusa and gone into the car.
Did you find anything?
Only at the very end. I was right. The one who wrote the message bottles was Beatrice herself.
Cool. So, you concluded that the witch actually exists?
Why did I give him the voice crap? Who knows? Mind if I sleep? I'll bet the talkative professor gets lost in his own little world in lectures and makes a lot of kids fall asleep.
Please go ahead, take a rest.
Still, that went really well. I think I believed that was Sumadera until the very end. The Sumadera family had set up a whip before around any person Angie might try to contact. They had offered a reward to anyone who could take Ushinomiya Angie into custody if she appeared. Angie had foreseen that and had snatched it away. She had called herself Sumadera, and after cleverly tricking the man by saying her own subordinates would set up an ambush so he didn't need to worry about it, she had taken him outside. So when the Sumadera family pursuers reached the professor's house, there was no longer anyone there. According to the family, a young man and a woman calling themselves Sumadera visited this morning. Took the professor out with them and still have not returned. There's a chance we were outmaneuvered. You are a bad child, Angie-chan. I wonder if that craftiness is from Ne-san's blood. To think she'd actually casually take on the name Sumadera after saying she hated to go by it so often. The professor should be returning soon. When he does, we must serve him some tea.
Yes, understood.
I wonder if she thinks she's leading me around by the nose. What a naughty child. With a demonic look on her face, Kasumi violently stamped her heel. I'll teach you about my magic of origins. No, I taught you before, right? And you used it before. Did you forget? You were also a witch apprentice, Angie, with your name entered into marriage sorcery, weren't you? Beatrice wrote the bottle. I can see I'm still conflicted if Beatrice is real or not. I don't know. Stop thinking. Stop thinking. No more thinking. I got nothing to think about. I just... Nothing. Just keep it in mind. I was also included among the witches, wasn't I? I closed Maria's diary and flopped down on a very high-class looking bed. I slept deeply for a long time in the car, so it took longer than usual for drowsiness to set in, and I read the diary as I waited. This was a super expensive hotel in the city. Since it was so often used by the rich and famous, they were very big on confidentiality. That made it very convenient for Angie to escape her pursuers. The idea that renegades should spend their nights hiding in a cheap hotel is commoners' way of thinking. To Angie, who possessed all the wealth of the Ushinoya family, renegade life was comfortable indeed. Of course, even though he was a guard, Amakusa was a man, and therefore in a separate room. Angie used the bedroom of the suite, and Amakusa lay on the sofa in the living room. According to Amakusa, the sofas here were more pleasant than his own beds had been recently. Poor guy. When I looked at the clock, I saw that it was almost 2 in the middle of the night. I'm still not getting sleepy. I sighed deeply. At that time, even though there was no wind, I had the feeling that Maria One-chan's diary fluttered. Then, One-chan appeared. Her form was no longer the normal one I'd known. She was wearing the dress that Beatrice had given her after acknowledging her as a witch.
If you don't get some sleep, it'll be tough tomorrow, right?
If I were a witch too, I'd be able to use magic, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Character notes, huh? Oh, because she's part of Angie's story now. Yeah, Maria, the witch of origins, who will live for the next 1,000 years, possesses the motherly magical power to give birth to one from the sea of Zero. At a glance, her magical power is weak, however, Zero will never become anything but Zero, no matter how it is multiplied, but the one she gave birth to will eventually surpass the heavens. Protected heavily by Beatrice, who understands her true value, she is in an alliance with Beatrice. It's all so bothersome. I don't know. Stop thinking. No more. I don't care. I just... Right. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, you can use it. I taught you, didn't I?
Retracted? Whatever.
Yeah, you can use it. I taught you, didn't I? Taught you how to use it. And you were able to use it in the past, weren't you?
I remember. I started wanting to use it.
Are you starting to feel lonely?
Not really. It's not like having a different pillow every night is that tough.
The first step to magic can be loneliness or boredom. Even small reasons like that.
Even if it's just trying to kill time until you can fall asleep.
Yeah. I'm glad you remembered about the magic one more time.
It's been quite a long time since I last used magic. At one point, with Maria One-chan's introduction, I touched a corner of it and opened the door a tiny bit. So I should still remember that sensation.
Right now, your magic power has declined significantly, Angie. If you don't devote yourself to the basics, it'll be hard, okay?
Sure. checking all directions. Secure in a quiet space.
What about Amakusa-san?
He's sleeping. After opening the door to the living room a crack, I could see the blanket caterpillar on the sofa roll over in his sleep.
Your magical strength as weak as it is now, the anti-magic power is affecting you too much. Not just the sight of people, but voices, sounds, and even the presence of people will get in the way of your magic. Sever those completely, like how ancient magicians shut themselves up in ateliers to preserve their isolation.
I remember. The very existence of humans blocks magic. Therefore, the very act of showing magic to people is a sign of a high-level witch. Obtain a quiet space for yourself alone. That should be enough to prepare a space to use magic.
Next is the vessel. Right now, it's important for your bike to at least have training wheels. No, a chain.
You're confusing me, Sam. You're speaking in riddles. I think I get it. It's pointless. I've said enough. There's nothing new to say. I've said enough. I said my piece. And everything else is just pointless. It's pointless. It's useless. It's useless. It's useless. It's useless. I don't care. 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 It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for gobbledygook. I don't know. It's too much. 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 Because, like, it's too much. Okay. There's no such thing as turning back time. There's no such thing as being able to change events. There's no multiple realities. There's nothing. Everything we have seen has happened. This whole Angie scenario we have here is the truth. Angie does survive, and Eva does survive. Angie goes on to live on 10 years after, and she will start looking for the truth. No matter what happens here in this episode, if she finds the truth or not, she will not turn back the clock and prevent anyone from dying. The possibility that we could solve everything and thus prevent anyone from dying is no longer true. That is impossible. That is an impossibility, and I no longer believe it. Everyone died, and there's nothing we can do about it. And all episodes happen. There's no such thing as some being fake or not. It's just they all happen. There's no alternate realities like one is the truth and another. They all happen. It's just that in a way none of them happened. They all happened, but none of them happened because we need to figure out which parts of each episode is the truth. None of the episodes are truth, but they all hold a little bit of the truth. And that is Angie's job, to figure out what parts of the episodes are the truth. What message bottles. Piece together all the message bottles to create one new message bottle. Basically. Which means that Butler will die. That's why I was conflicted on that idea, because how is he gonna die? But no, it means that Butler will die. He is dead, and there's nothing to prevent it. so I get it. But steel is heavier than feathers. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's too much. It's too much because, like, if all of the information we've gotten has been through these message bottles, then, like, it makes me want to say a curse word. I want to swear. If all our information has been through these message bottles, that means that we haven't truly met anyone. We're just reading what other people think of the family members. We can't even trust their personalities because, like, let's say Kraus has the POV one time. He's gonna make himself look very smart and important and such. And then if it's like Eva's POV, he's gonna look like a stupid idiot and a baboon because that's how she sees him. We haven't really met anyone. I don't get it. That's bad. That's too much. There's too much to think about in that case. There's just nothing. I have nothing. Literally nothing could be true. Literally, if it's all just message bottles written by someone, did the entire incident even happen? All of it. None of what we've seen. There's just some things that just, like, solo scenes. How do you explain solo scenes? Like, there's multiple solo scenes in an episode. Like, in episode 2, we had the solo scene with Shannon, with Beatrice. But then in that same episode, we had a solo scene with Genji, when he stabbed the butterfly. So Solo's like, what? How does that work? Like, if episode 2 is from Shannon's POV, obviously she would write from her POV and her solo scene makes sense, but then she suddenly wrote about something she didn't see, about Genji doing that, even though that, like, no. Because of solo scenes like that, it cannot be written by any of the family members. Because that's just stupid. Why would, like, episode 3 is from Rosa's POV, let's say. Why would she write the scenes of Eva discovering the gold and staying up in the bathroom looking at the riddle when that isn't her scene, that isn't Rosa's scene? And if it's Eva's POV, then why would she write about Rosa doing things on her own? It has to be someone who is overlooking all of it. So the only people that could have written the message bottles are Kinso, obvious culprit, Beatrice if she exists, or Butler, because, you know, he's the one piecing things together.
I think that makes the most sense to me. Angie proposed the idea that they were written before the accident or during it, but I don't think it's either. I think it's after. They were written after the incident. If the incident is even real in the first place. But yes, it was written after the incident. And it's either by Beatrice if she's real or by Butler. I think the Butler idea I really like. He wrote multiple endings and possibilities at the end of everything, and he threw them into the ocean so that one day it's someone else's problem to decide what happened, if it was magic or not. I really like the idea that Butler wrote them. But then why would he write my beloved apprentice, Maria, in Maria's diary? If I'm also right about the whole story being about bringing light to the story of Beatrice and her tragedy, then Butler would literally, take up the torch after Beatrice. So it's not outlandish to assume that he mimicked her handwriting. Well, didn't mimic her handwriting, but wrote in place of Beatrice, because Beatrice doesn't actually exist. So he wrote for her. And that's why he also wrote all the message bottles. It was all the stories that Beatrice told. But I don't know. I don't like that too much. It makes it seem like Butler became like Kinso at the end of everything and started going crazy after Beatrice. But no, I think it's a much sweeter way. It's less so that he became obsessed with Beatrice and more so that he wanted to take up her legacy, wanted to tell her story. He wanted to keep the legend. There we go. He wanted to keep the legend of Beatrice alive. He solved everything. He knows what the truth is. But when it was time to show the truth to the world, he decided against it and decided to keep the story of Beatrice alive, her legend, so that she is never forgotten, is what I've been saying in the server. And now Angie has all the message bottles and everything to piece it together, so it's up to her to decide to kill the memory of Beatrice and reveal the truth of what happened on the island, or to keep the legacy of Beatrice alive and not tell the truth. That's the whole bit of the entire game, like I said in the server. That's the whole bit. That's the whole gimmick. And I'm going to I get it, but I also whatever. I don't know. I will deny magic to my last breath. Okay? I don't care. I don't. Uncle, whatever. Whatever. No. I just stop thinking. Stop. No more. It's just it kill and literally eats me alive. It's genuinely entrapping. I can't move on. I feel like if I move on, I'm failing myself because I'm not content. I'm not happy. I don't have a concrete feeling. Everything is enshrouded by confusion and lies and uncertainty. And I don't know. I'm going to force myself. No more. I said my piece. I'm going to force myself to continue. No more. Okay. Hi, Phoenix. Yeah. This is, of course, impossible. And she rubbed her own head. Bro, you think that means my message holds true? You follow the fine print. I don't get it. What are you trying to tell me? She wore her accessories there with pink gems attached. They felt a little childish for Angie, but she never took them off, not even for a single day.
Yeah. Parenting will be impossible for you now, Angie. If you've practiced every single day since then, you might have gained the ability to summon with that by now.
If I were to start training now, how long would it take?
It's said that a year of magical training for a child is worth 10 years for an old person. You need a lot of determination.
You mean like Ushirimiya Kinso? So, just like that piano and the violin, getting a special education from a young age is huge when it comes to magic.
As you are now, your power has weakened since the time you were first able to use the magic, Angie.
My consoling message and this only holds up music a little. Right. Yeah. Whatever. Right.
Don't overdo it, and devote yourself to the basics.
After stubbornly rubbing those things on my head one more time, I gave up. When I started fishing through the knapsack, looking for anything that might make a good vessel. Huh? Shouldn't this be a perfect vessel?
It's been a long time. Yes. With this, I think even you should be able to perform a summons as you are now. And they have no master now. It should be possible for you to become their new master, Angie.
Among the things that looked like good vessels, I took the one I thought might possess the strongest magical power. Sakutaru? And I set it on the side table near the bed with a clatter. It was a shady looking stake-shaped weapon when I caught the sign and scratched on it. It was one of the 7 sticks of purgatory which the witch used to offer sacrifices. When the police had been searching the family's possessions, they had collected a large amount of junk. After the investigation had finished, these had been politely returned to the Ushimiya family. Finding something that I've seen in the pictures of Maria's diary, I took it home with me. This is going to be a short stream. I'm not bummed, but like, I ate up my energy with that. It's just, it does bum me out. It does. I just, nothing feels good. Nothing feels correct. Nothing I say. Whatever.
Fortunately, there were 7 stakes of purgatory. How pitiful. Now she's the only one left.
Oni-chan smiled, looking lonely. I pulled another book out of the knapsack. It was an old-fashioned, and you could tell that it was in a cold book just by looking. But its contents were plain. It was one of Maria's Oni-chan's elaborate notebooks. It wasn't a diary. This was a grimoire which she had risen as a witch. The 7 stakes of Purgatory are Beatrice's furniture, created by her and employed only for her stake. But since Beatrice is also a witch of Maria's sorcery, they could be employed by Maria, a witch of the same alliance. For that reason, the method of summoning the 7 stakes of Purgatory and how to handle them was written about in great detail in Maria's Unichan's grimoire. And, as another person with their name registered in that alliance, I was also permitted to employ them. Which of the 7 sisters is the stake?
The characteristics are written about well in my grimoire. The Sisters of the Seven Stakes really hate it when you get their names wrong. Remember their names as well before summoning them.
A packed page told of 7 stakes of Purgatory. It described the 7 sisters in great detail. Yes, I think I memorized almost this entire page once in the past. The more I read it, the more I start to remember. Phoenix, what didn't happen? It's been a rough couple of days. Streamer doesn't, the feeling of not knowing what's gonna happen, or knowing what's gonna happen, but doesn't like what what Sam said. It's been a rough couple of days. I've been thinking about Umineko a lot and having existential crises. Like, yesterday or 2 days ago, I proposed the idea of every episode being from a different person's POV, meaning that all episodes happen, it's just that they all come from the perspective of a different person. And now this stream, we see the message bottle revelation. It threw me for a loop, and I'm dying. I'm dying, Squidward. I'm dying. I will kill Ruby Tomato for making me play this bull crap. Whatever. Whatever. The ending of this game is going to be ass. Whatever. With pictures and characteristics written on the grimoire, I could tell that the stake in my hand was Neyman's stake. In the past, I hadn't had any stakes, so I summoned them without any vessel. So this was the first time I clearly seen one of the 7 stakes, let alone Maymond, the 5th sister, controls the deadly sin of greed. An incredible kid.
Greed also controls aspirations, the desire to improve oneself, and the strength to live. It definitely doesn't mean only bad things. She's rude, but she's a girl who tries really hard.
I see. You could say that with a desire, there's no reason to live. For a while, I heightened my concentration and digested the information that was written about Maymon. The more the summoner knows about the target that is being summoned, the better. Knowledge is connected to magical power. I began to fill my head with knowledge about Naaman, raising the necessary amount of magical power for a summoning. Grimoires can be a bit interesting. This might be a much better read than some lame novel. It really takes me back.
For Grimoire, it is demanded not only that you understand the letters, but that you fill up the world of the space between the lines, giving birth to a world from the pictures and creating them in various ways. The power to give birth to something. For someone who has that, such as you, a Grimoire should be more interesting than any book. I've always known that you've been able to understand that.
That should be enough knowledge of Naaman for now. Yes, I remembered it more or less. I'll give it a try.
Take care. In case the worst happens, here's my talisman. The Treaty of the Alliance won't protect you right now. That Naaman is a bit of a quick trigger. And she may still bear a grudge. Be careful.
Yes, I'll wear it. The 7 Sticks of Purgatory as furniture used to make sacrifices for a ceremony were treated as beings inferior even to weapons. But that was only when compared to other demons. To humans, furniture is something to be feared. I fished through the knapsack again. Took out a bracelet charm with a scorpion medal that I had gotten from Maria Onechan long ago and put it on my arm. In the past I hadn't needed something like this, but I needed assurance.
It's okay. That has already been lifted with the required amount of magical defense. Very. As long as you wear that, you'll definitely be fine.
Maria Onechan's magical power had been specially put into this charm, had been enough to earn even Beatrice's admiration. What it may have looked like something cheap to a human who couldn't understand magic, its magical worth was incalculable. Come, arise, forgive the sin, one of the 7 Sticks of Purgatory, Naaman of Greed. I focused my mind. I made the magic impeding toxin that filled my body serum. Imagine an untainted vast space. Doubts and common sense all resist magic. Make the resistance 0 and erase the burden on the magical power. Inside my head was the image of a vast space. It was a nightmare world where I floated in the air and the neon stars over the ground sparkled. A world where the stars that should have covered the sky were wiped away by the light from below that covered the ground. In the world of vast night with no obstructions, I imagined the wind blowing through at will. At that time, in a room where that shouldn't have been any wind, the free nighttime was kicked up as the long forgotten sensation raced through my entire body. It was the unique feeling of exaltation that comes from magic using magic. The even stake, which I held out in my hand, gradually began to make me feel a pale light. A twisting cyclone with the stake at the center. The hefty stake floated a bit into the air.
Wonderful. It looks like the gap in your training has installed your talent.
Come, arise, forgive the sin. One of the 7 Sticks of Purgatory, Naaman of Greed. Show yourself to me. As I raised my hands with my bed, lifting them higher than in my head. As though I was being attracted upwards, Naaman's stake once again floated up high into the air and gradually began to shake. The shaking began to grow faster, and then it burst. With a speed faster than the eye could follow, it flew around violently, rebounding off the walls of the room. The terrible sound of it dancing around threatened to make me flinch. However, I must not lose my mental concentration. Then the stakes, which had been flying around at incredible speed, finally stopped and faced me. It was in the air, just a few centimeters away from my forehead, and held back by the defense barrier created by the scorpion charm. I had tried to break the defensive barrier into it with an incredible power, but Maria Onechan's barrier wouldn't be broken so easily. It's no use. I can't break it. The stake muttered faithfully. It was probably safe to say that the scorpion charm saved me. Without that, my attempt at killing time until I got sleepy would have killed my time for all eternity. When my mistake realized that it was able to gouge me, I gave up and grew docile, changing its form from that of a snake into a human. In that same old outfit that I've never be able to walk around outside in. Although you could say it suited her in a demonic sort of way. Was that Angie-sama? But the magical power is pretty shabby. Are you really Angie-sama? It's been a long time, Eamon. Have you been well? And here I was convinced that furniture was already fulfilled, the instruction just gets left to rust away in a closet. So what kind of sideshow is this? You weren't gonna say that you're my owner, are you?
Yes, Angie is your master.
Lord Maria, Lady Maria, how insightful of me. Was that barrier just now yours?
Yes. I thought as she is now, Angie might just have gotten finished off by you. I lend her a talisman.
If Lady Maria says Angie-sama is my master, I cannot refuse. Angie-sama, please, your orders. All of them. Who was the first to become Angie's friend? If it's me you need, are you going to perform a new ceremony? With new sacrifices? Of course, that's only if you're willing to handle me yourself and get your own hands dirty. That role isn't something I'm asking of anyone. For anyone. All you have to do is talk with me like you used to. Yes, if that is what you desire. Furniture is furniture because it is used. It is an honor just to be summoned. Angie-sama? Meimin had a slightly complicated smile on her face. She accepted that her new master became because Maria had told her to. But it looked like she hadn't gotten over her discontent at working for Angie with her frail magical power. Perhaps she had some other reason for hating Angie, but for now it seemed that she couldn't disobey even if she wasn't happy about it. So, what should I do? I don't know. Just do something lively, like old times. Well, now, this liveliness you're talking about is probably from when we sisters were all together. It may be difficult by myself. Did you forget?
That's right. Seven sisters were really lively when they got together. But with Angie's magical power now, I think summoning just Meimin is the best we can hope for. The stakes of the other six have been lost.
My apologies, Lady Maria, but maybe it would be possible to summon the seven sisters by my own stake. If I am to be used, then I'd hope Angie-sama has at least that much power, right? Meimin grinned. Apparently she wanted me to summon the other sisters without a vessel. I see. Since she's unable to satisfy herself with being summoned alone, she's asking for the other sisters to be summoned as well. I get it, agreed. Yeah, she was like that back then, wasn't she? To furniture, the times during which they are used are bliss. No matter how badly they are exploited, being used is furniture's joy. On the contrary, regardless of how nice you are to them, not being given a job is more painful than anything in their eyes. Meimin spoke in a challenging way, but she wanted me to summon the other sisters somehow and rescue them from the world of nothingness. If that's the case, all she's gotta do is say so. These demon people can never just say what they mean.
Angie, don't overdo it. You'll need plenty of rehabilitation just from summoning Meimin.
Oh, I need to rehabilitate just after one. Well, I'm killing time anyway. Okay, Meimin. I've gone this far. I'll call as many as I can. Really? Not bad, Angie-sama. Okay, quickly.
Apparently, even though she asked, Meiman hadn't really expected Angie to do this. She hopped around, bargaining Angie to summon the other sisters. Summoning Meiman alone consumed a considerable amount of physical and magical power. It'll probably be pretty tough to do 6 more. I'm awed by the magical power of those who summon sisters like this at will with a snap of their fingers, who therefore reach the level where they can be called witches.
Meiman, don't make Angie overdo it. She still isn't at her best.
What? Angie-sama said she summoned everyone. Actually, I only said as call as many as I could. I guess that's great for you.
Don't overdo it, Angie. You should rest for today. You're tired enough.
It's okay. I'm just killing time anyway. Let me get tired enough that I can just fall over asleep. This time there's no vessel. I'll have to string the image from the knowledge of the grimoire and materialize them from just that. I hold my hands out into the air, replaying in my head the sensation from what I summoned Meiman. I'm acquainted with all the 7 sisters, right? I've got to remember that time long ago when I talked to them. Once again, the power of magic began to fill me up. I let off a faint and yet distinct pale light from both of my hands.
Angie-sama.
Hold on, good luck! Hey, Lady Maria! Angie-sama's definitely gonna summon everyone, right? The 7 sisters will get to be reunited again, right? Right?
Yeah, definitely. But there's no guarantee that it will happen tonight.
Angie-sama can do it! Hey, please, Angie-sama! Start with the youngest sister, Asmodeus, the 7th sister. Got it? I'll call them in order starting from the youngest. A strand of hot sweat dripped down from my forehead. This really is going to be one hell of a burden to carry. The pale light in the space began to slowly form into the outline of a girl. Come, arise. One of the 7 sisters of purgatory, Asmodeus of lust. There was no vessel. However, as I held a strong conviction that she definitely did exist there in the core, her form began to crystallize. Her outline became distinct, and the form of the youngest of the 7 sisters Asmodeus was finally created. Asmodeus of lust right here. What is this? Am I alive? Asmo! I'm so glad! Mamona-san! Where in the world is this? Who summoned me? Angie-sama did. Angie-sama said she'd revive all of us. No, I didn't. Angie-sama, thank you. Do bells next, please. Beelzebub, the 6th sister. Beelzebub of gluttony. Come, arise. At this rate, I wonder how many I'd be able to summon. If I can't focus, this is probably it. The pale light made an outline and formed into Beelzebub. Beelzebub of gluttony right here. Beelzy! Angie-sama, awesome! Meiman and Asmodeus jumped into Beelzebub, celebrating their reunion. I summoned 3 people at once. My head was throbbing. Gotta summon the next one without stopping for a break. Come, arise. One of the 7 stakes, Belfa, god of sloth. Belfa, god of sloth right here. To think that I would be needed again. Belfine! I'm hungry. I'm so glad to see you again. To think that the 7 sisters would be able to meet again. Angie-sama, thank you so much. Keep it up and do Satan next. Leviana, Lucina. Yeah, I get it. So please try not to be so loud. Doing 4 people at the same time is pretty rough.
Angie, don't ever do it any more than this. You did a good job summoning even 4 of them after such a long time.
Stop it, Meiman. Right now, Angie-sama is being pressured with the burden of summoning us. Angie-sama, I beg you not to strain yourself too much. No way. Angie-sama promised. She said that she'd play with all of us again. No, right? Angie-sama, you said everyone would meet again. You promised that we could meet again right away. That's right. I promised. I didn't promise anything about when, but I certainly did promise. So keep that promise. If you don't, I'll never forgive you for forgetting it until today, Angie-sama. Come, arise. One of the 7 sisters takes the purgatory, Satan of wrath. My mind's getting hasty, but I'll call. Even though I've forgotten about those days, even though I never thought of that time as anything but sad and lonely, because the short time I spent with them was fun, without a doubt. Satan of Wrath, right here. What the hell are you people doing? Don't you realize how much is burdening me and Angie-sama just to let us have an idle chat? Satan had apparently figured out the situation immediately after being summoned, cried out in a loud voice to her sister's house. The loud voice made my consciousness hazy again. We are furniture who have been granted rest by bad daddies and whose duty has been finished. Not only are you not honored being given another chance to be of some use, but you're putting a burden on the new master. You're disgrace to all furniture. Erase yourself right away. Yes, it's like Satan says. I'll erase myself. You all erase yourselves too. In this moment, that's the best way for us to be of use to Angie-sama. No way. Not until everyone's summoned. Same here. I'm hungry. I mean, I'll hate to leave again so soon after being reunited with you all. Don't be so selfish. Come on, erase yourself quickly. Come on, Asmo. Disappear right now. Satan is bullying me. It's not fair if you always bully the youngest one. Yes, they really are lively. It doesn't bore me.
That's enough. You're surpassed your limits for now, Angie.
You're right. When 5 of them summoned and meeting around as they pleased, the load was far too heavy for me with the meager magical power I had at that moment. This is it. As my consciousness went hazy, I fell over onto the bed. Have beds always felt this soft? I see that the sisters were still squabbling together as much as they liked. For a way to kill time until drowsiness comes to get me, this is enough. Feeling something warm and nostalgic and the sisters' liveliness, I sank into a world of deep sleep. At the entrance to my dream world, I felt Mariana-chan and Sakataru waiting to receive me.
You worked hard, and good job. Look at you. Welcome back, Angie.
Welcome back, huh? Then I should respond like this. I'm home. That's GG's for now. No thinking, no thinking. Just one thought. Every little passing moment is starting to feel like Butler is the one behind. Basically everything, in a way. So, Sakutaru
is just the personification of Maria's imaginary friend. It's like, don't take it literally. It's just that when you care so much about a plush toy, like Maria did, you know, it's Toy Story. They gain a life. She treated Sakutaru as if it was always alive from the start. Like he could talk to her, like he was drinking stuff, but you know, in reality, she was just pretending that he was eating, pretending that he was hitting the remote, pretending that he got up from the table and all that. That's what it's supposed to represent. Being a witch of origins is just having such innocence in your heart that you give life to your imaginary friends. So, the Seven Sisters talking about... So, the Seven Sisters and Angie talking about like this past they have where they talked in the past apparently and played a lot. It's very likely that the Seven Sisters of Purgatory are the imaginary friends of Angie when she was young. Most likely after everyone died. She was so lonely and she only had the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. But if that was the case, then how are they in the Ronkenjima story? If they came after the Ronkenjima incident. Unless we mean to say that she got the idea from the incident and that's when she started thinking of them as imaginary friends, but I don't buy that at all. First off, it would be too gruesome to learn about that when she was that young. And why would she see them as something to be friends with if she associates them with the murder of her family? So what I'm thinking is that she always had these imaginary friends, even while her family was alive. Maybe she was just a lonely child, you know? Her brother, Butler, wasn't there much, so maybe she had to make her own fun, just like Maria. And I bring that up because whenever Butler did visit, what if Angie told Butler about the Seven Sisters and made him play with them? So, when Butler started writing the message bottles, he included the imaginary friends of her little sister. Why? I don't know, but it's just what brings to mind right now. Well, that is all. No more thinking. I'm bummed. I am bummed. I'm out. GG's. Good night, everyone. Oh, crap. No, I have one more thing to say. Eva, the Cheister sisters. I also thought of that. Obviously, that one's easy. Cheister sisters are also just the imaginary friends of the young Eva, which young Eva is literally who Eva Beatriz was, so it makes sense that she would have control over them because those are her imaginary friends back when she was lonely and her siblings were all stinky. And it makes sense why they're so calculated and not very fun and just straight to the point and straight to action because she was a very goal-oriented kid. Eva, even as young, she was very goal-oriented. She was always working hard, getting straight A's in school and, you know, readying herself up to be the head of the family. So it makes sense that her imaginary friends would be equally as goal-oriented and straight to the point, no messing around. So furniture equals imaginary friends is looking like a valid theory. But nah, that's it. GG's, for real. Ronove is a furniture, but he's also like, I don't know. I consider him like, they talked about him at the start like he wasn't furniture. It's more like Beatriz just made a contract with him. He is something else, not exactly a creation of furniture. So I don't count him, but if he does count, I don't know how he fits into the imaginary friend thing. But anyways, that's all. GG's, good night, I'm out. I'm bummed, I'm sad. Whatever.